Is February 17th, 2025, and it's in the morning, and I don't have the light on in here. I haven't been on YouTube for, I guess, about 2 or 3 weeks now, is when I was last on a live, because I've been live and I've been on YouTube now since the beginning of my awakening process, which I had my shock activation May 2017. And I've only had 2 videos that have ever been taken down from YouTube. And I've been blocked only twice and banned from lives. And the video that they took down was me explaining, number one, that they had changed Uranus direct, because they went and they changed it. And it was right before everything went nuts in the collective. It's right before the plane crash in Washington. It was, because that all happened, that all started really ramping up in my world around the 24th, now that I look back. And it didn't end until about 4 or 5 days ago. On that video, I talked about the hockey. I talked about the ice rinks. I talked about what they were doing in the ice rinks. Well, they decided to take that video down and block me for a week, right as they knew what they were about to try to pull off in Washington. Then they blocked me on TikTok. So during one of the most important times of a merger of timelines, they completely blocked me from any contact with you guys on a live nature. Now, a couple of things with that. During the middle of it and everything that was going on, because if you're not following me on TikTok, then you probably don't know. Because whenever these events are going on and I'm combating them with my digital airbender stuff that I do over here, and that I actually try to show y'all how I do it on TikTok, use it to manifest and help with these crazy, the cosmic stuff, the merger alignments, the universal stuff, all the airplane stuff that we've been having, all that's a part of this merger of spheres. And now that I look back, I'm glad I didn't have live, because I probably would have come on and said a whole bunch of stuff that I probably shouldn't have said, only because we were smack in the middle of it, and they sacrificed all those people. And whenever that many souls come into a soul system that we as a collective have stopped and changed, because we're coming out of an old solar alignment, then, that's basically even how throughout this last 7 years they were pew-pewing certain beings around certain ones of us. Even so, death would get in our energy. This is why we had to change the blood, and we had to change a whole lot that we firmly haven't put a grasp on exactly what that means, because everybody down here was just kept hexing themselves and doing sacrifices on themselves, and just by the old traditions and everything else, not to mention the factions that are purposely doing it. On that note, I want to make a command. I almost did it on TikTok, but I felt like I needed to come over here and number one, because there's a certain person that's live on this app right now. So I command that. See, here's the problem. When you come in for a solar ascension and you're having to do a complete DNA rewrite as an incarnate, you kind of can't pick and choose. Whenever you clear DNA and whenever you clear curses, and all we were trying to do was stay alive, what we end up doing, it is clearing for the entire collective. Now, for the past 4 or 5 years, and everything that had to do with the Babylonian phonetics and everything that I had to learn with the 33 phonetics versus the 44 phonetics, and we had to change the alphabet system like a couple of times, the current ones that are saying that they're in charge of the United States of America are the ones that I was having to change it against. This is also why they're wanting to come in and take certain words out of things. It's why they wanted to change to the Gulf of America. The game that we were having to play in finance, and the finance side of all of it is run from the Republic side. All the black magic, the cooking, the that's and all the industry stuff, and how they do it with characters, that comes from the demi side. So this Republic side, the whole thing with Doge coming up in Venice and it being Doge Venice, and let me give you an example. Doge Venice and that whole timeline is from the 1700s. Well, because they wouldn't let me leave the United States of America. So basically, because they wouldn't let me leave the United States of America, all the 42 states that I went to and drove in the United States, I was on the pinpoint in the United States of where it was attached in the rest of the world. So it's like if I let's say I had to go to Paris, Texas, which I didn't. But let's say I had to go to Paris, Texas. If I would have gone to Paris, Texas down here, and it would have been aligned with Paris, then I could change Paris and the Eiffel Tower from here in the United States. And that's for anybody that they blocked your routes, because they'd done that ever since I was a child. They'd never let me leave the United States. They'd only let me go to Mexico. Every single trip I ever had planned to get out of the United States, they blocked it and stopped it in my life, and then stole my passport towards the end so I couldn't leave, and set me up whenever I ordered it in 2018. So the problem is we cleared we cleared the path with the phonetics for them to be able to take them up to a 44 to even play the game that they're playing. We cleared the karma in their lines because we were placed in their lines illegally and not by universal law and not according to soul contracts for the majority of us that are incarnates. So here's what we're doing today. All the karma goes on them. Add it up and load it up. Add it up and load it up. In every single line. In every single bloodline. And it don't matter what your last name is anymore if you haven't figured that out already. They will not piggyback us. Now, the other thing is they can't piggyback us. Right now, everybody's got to remember that, and this is what I'm really, and this is why I've been so quiet over here too, because I'm really having to, we're going, those of us who are major healers and incarnates have been on this for a while. We're having to go through major changes and adjustments right now. Mainly because we don't have enough support. We don't have enough support the spiritual groups that are rising up, and just, I don't even know anymore. I guess everybody thinks that they can just make up their own way of doing everything, and then they can just go in their little groups and not support one another. But what everyone is going to really start realizing in the next 4 to 5 years is how this spiritual journey that everyone thinks that they've been on is actually one that's been out of pure survival mode. And you saw it early. For spiritual groups that want to get together and talk crap about beings that come in and help and assist, and that they have no idea what it actually takes to do what the healers do, and then leave them in a lurch in the middle of it, talk crap about them in groups in the middle of ascensions, when nobody has any idea how dire the situation is. Is that really how you want to play this? I mean, the whole world needs to realize, and I mean, if in these moves that we've been making, this anglerfish, this anglerfish, I've told this story over here so many times. It was the 11/11/2018. It was 11/11/2018. And we were starting the merger of spheres. I was up here in North Texas. We had one in Maui. We had one in Australia. We were doing a triangulation in order to get the energies in a triangulation and flowing. And I went into the twin falls in Uluru, and I end up at the bottom of the ocean getting snapped at. And that's when I figured out that I was at the bottom of the ocean, because something was snapping at me. And then I figured out, oh my gosh, I'm at the bottom of the ocean. I got to get out of here. And I went straight up. And when I went straight up, it's like I had to embody this massive, weird, gray volcano that I know is going to be the next one that pops off. So we're fixing to find out what volcano that was. That anglerfish, and the reason that everyone's having the reaction, including myself, to that anglerfish, is because it's the divine feminine coming from the deep. But it happened 11/11/2018. And see, this is really been like, out of all the stuff, and there's been a lot over the past couple of weeks. That anglerfish was us coming out of the depths and coming up from the light out of the simulation. Now, what's so crazy about it is that anglerfish couldn't come up until we flipped the houses. I really think that that's what happened. And who knows how long we were down there, because whenever we walked this recreate, whenever we rewalked creation, we rewalked creation in the ethers, because it was all being recreated in the ethers. But all of us were feeling it and interacting with it and assisting it and stopping certain things. So it's really, really confusing for all of us that have been on this journey, and what I really want us to start thinking about, because I think that this is really, thinking this way has helped me a little bit more with patience. Although, the hard part is we know how much we changed. The harder part is at this point is knowing, because we know how much we changed. We knew how much we went through. We know what we witnessed, and we know that it's the truth, which is harder to know than to not know, because then we have expectation and we have anticipation. We've never done this before. It's never been done that neither Democrat or Republican won. It's a brand new reality that is starting to take place and to build. The thing is, a lot of the things that if we're just now at 11/11/2018, you had a dream about me? Oh my gosh. I hope it was good. We need some good news. Twin Falls and Catago, I think I went through it. New LaRue and popped out further past the national park. Just started Don Blue Gorilla Monkey Army in the last two. Right, and we had to get rid of that, and we did. We did. That's for sure. That's why this is why the etherics feel so off. Tell me if they feel off to you, because I know they feel off to me, but it's really because they wrapped everything up around the wheel. They wrapped everything up around the Aries wheel, and we dropped it last minute and changed it. Oh, good. We changed it. We had to switch the houses, because in Lemuria, when we went into the wheel, it's like trying to get out of the bottom of a can. If you've got like a flip, you know how whenever you accidentally put the can in the can opener on the wrong side and it won't open, and you're like, I can't get it, the can opener's broke, and then you look down and you're like, oh crap, it's the wrong side. It's like that. I think that anglerfish, that was us, but really we were trapped at the bottom of the ocean. But we were. In every sense of the form. Trapped at the bottom of the ocean, or under the ocean, or underneath the floor. And it's also, there's so, I have to be careful about what I say because of the way this stuff is going right now with this stuff. But this is evolution. And not everybody's going to make it. And if you haven't figured it out yet in the spiritual community, that was the big cover up and lie. That's why they wanted, oh, you're the same as me and I'm the same as you and da 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 da. And us as a spiritual community saying, oh, we're going to save them all. We're going to save them all. Every time everybody said that, then all of us that had the abilities and that were moved up in the abilities in order to do these things and to say and try to save them all, well, no, that's our mistake. We should have never said that. We're not going to save them all. There's a whole bunch down here that need another 1,000,000 years. That's obvious. This is a solar ascension. It's an ascension. Not everybody's gonna make it out of a solar. You kind of got to be off medication. You can't go to your doctor in the higher physics. They're going to be like, you go into the new world and you're like, I need to go to the doctor. Like, come on. There's certain things, you know, and I mean, this is what I've been seeing since 2018. You know, it's these going down to Corpus Christi. I mean, they're lined up on the roads. They're calling them schools, but I knew back then they weren't schools because they weren't schools. Right. The old calendar would be approximately 7 to 8 years different than the Roman calendar. I also saw a lot of looping, and there was literally a guy on TikTok who messaged me, and I end up having to block him because I've been having just screening through a lot. I had to go through everything with a fine tooth comb over here. And he legit told me that he was a looper. He called himself a looper, and he told me that he wasn't real. And I was like, okay, if you're not real, then are you a bot? Do you have a body? Like, you know, because I'm just talking to him on TikTok. And he had messaged me a year ago. He was in my other collective, and when he messaged me a year ago, he said that he was being attacked by some cult or something. And I looked in on him, and I could see he was surrounded by like sticks and stuff. And I helped him then. And when he came back around this year, what I realized is that I basically hid with him. When I helped him last year, which it might have even been, I don't even think it might have even been the end of 2023. Basically, whenever I helped that guy, I stayed in his energy and I hid there. And then when he came back around and he told me that he was trying to escape his family, and they were, you know, it was part of the family and blah, 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 blah. And he told me he was a looper. That's what he did. And I told him, thanks for the ride. He was like, you have to help me. I'm like, what are you talking about? I've been here the whole time, man. It's time for me to move on. Like, for me personally, it's been number one. I don't want to sound ungrateful at all, because I only talked to a couple of people over here right now anyway, but the couple of people that I talked to them, and I said the same thing. I know that we're tired and that we don't understand this timing, or we're not used to this changing of timing and these what all's happening right now. But we're all safe. We're not, if we're being attacked, we're not feeling it. It's not affecting us. We're actually, you know, especially this past couple of weeks, because we launched an offense. Trust on that. Like we launched an offense that they're still not understanding, and neither are we, because it was a big move to flip but this is what Yahshua's family, that's what you are, is the zodiac. We're undoing the zodiac. The zodiac is the continents. This constellations in a circle makes up the continents of the earth. This is why it's so simultaneously when we talk about grid workers and driving it and blah, 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 blah. because there's not even like a lot of land, you know, like it's mostly water. And if you go look at Google Earth, like what exactly is Earth? Like it's a bunch of bones, it's a bunch of decaying animals, it's a bunch of da 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 da, and then all in frequency bands that have life coming through it as an organic compound. It has it, so it's making grass, it's making dirt, it's making worms, but it's organic, it's feminine. What we're going to start having is that's not going to, it's where the organisms or are going to coagulate and make that is going to change. Right now it's because the core's changing shape, the core, you know, everything's having to be terraformed. But for all of us that have been on this pursuit, I like for myself, since 2017, I had to come on to YouTube or any platform that I could speak to you guys directly to as much as possible for 7 years nonstop, so that at least somebody else was hearing what I was saying and we were building the consciousness. Because that's, I mean, the problem with the spiritual community is that everyone thinks they can just make up whatever they want, and everyone does. And then the whole world ends up manifesting more and more and more and more and more characters. How many names do you need for a shadow being on every dimension? And what's crazy is that the human race manifests shadow beings like crazy. Y'all come up with a gazillion different demonization of every single shadow entity, but then you only got like one in each dimension that's considered to be holy. And it's like everybody wants to be that one, but then nobody understands that you are all that one. You know, it's at a wise collective at some point, you know, through all this. It's gonna, we've got to start supporting each other. And so for all of us that have been doing a lot of healing, and for all of us who know what it takes out of us to heal people, and how it messes up our lives and messes up our ascension whenever the people that we're working with just decide to go make up their own crap. I don't think we're going to be doing healing. Not for a little bit. This isn't a spiritual thing that's happening. This is a human race thing, and it's an evolution thing. And a lot of us that are your ancient healers have major roles to play in the new earth. And you know, it's bigger than, I mean, we don't even have any real. It's bigger. It's bigger than Teal Swan. Yeah, we got to be in focus on ourselves, because I mean, you see what's happening in the world right now. You know, with the mental health stuff being taken away and those types of things, as far as my healers and everybody, do you see now why we have the abilities that we do? Are you starting to see how we're going to be needing to go out and reach different groups of people to let them know what we can do to help them, because they don't have insurance and because they don't have this? Not to mention the fact that we can prove that mental illness is caused from everything that they've been doing with the dimensions this whole time, and our DNA. So it's like everything we really have to, and please, if you don't listen to anything else that I say, listen to this. You're playing a game. You're playing a game, whether you want to play it or not. You're in the game. And the ascension is the game. There's going to be another round that's starting. And everyone's going to start proving, and it's already started again, where people are starting to run and prove. It's going to ramp up again. They want you not focused on that. They want you to miss it the same way y'all did the past 7 years. Focusing on everything else. Where's the money with Doge? Where's this? Where's that? Well, it's all gone. Hello? We've been screaming this the whole time. You can move it around as much as you want, but it is what it is, and there ain't any more. Right? So, and this is even, I'm coming on here to give y'all a pep talk, because I've had to get on with the two women that I talk to and talk to them and end up giving myself a pep talk, because this has been a difficult in a different way. It's not difficult how it was the past couple of years with the black magic and having to do this and feeling like I'm and getting attacked. It's difficult in a different way. It's difficult because there's been a major flip. That's in the bag now. It's in the bag. Now it's literally going to roll up, and now it's going to start repeating again, because it can't do anything else but what it's repeated, except for the only timeline that we're seeing is the one that they've been writing. Well, that's because they were organized. Do you think that in the dark arts that number one, do you think anybody has a meeting? Number two, if you did have a meeting to find out exactly what's going on, and then you come up and you go, oh, me and the girls were talking about it over in the corner, and we think that we should call it this and we should do it this way. You're going to go up to the 6 men that are in charge of the 3 million Satan worshipers down here and tell them that you and the girls got a different plan? Now, there's a reason in the lower realms that they have that organization. And this is it. In the higher spiritual community, they want everybody thinking that everybody's everybody else. They want everyone thinking that, and you know what's even crazier is whenever you are a healer and you tell people about their abilities, and then they get an influx of energy and decide that they have a bunch of power and you don't know shit. This is the big one. And this has been going on with me around here since I've been doing charts. And I think it's just a normal thing whenever someone finally hears from somebody else what they've always known, but then why you want to go throw the healer under the bus. Especially whenever you're supposed to be supporting the healer, because she's the real deal. And it's been 7 years of it. Every state that I went to, every handler's house and every cook house that I ended up in was because I was there to build this brand, and I was there to get all this information out to everybody. So I'm not exactly sure what the answer is on how we're moving forward. I don't think any of us really know right this second. The timelines and everything are hitting like a brick wall. Some of them are hitting like a brick wall. The other ones are having to maneuver. But all we're really needing to do is write those connections. All we're really needing to do is write those connections. Because if we are that far ahead in the spiritual stuff, that we were the anglerfish, and now here we are almost 7, because it's a little over 6 years since. So if we're that much ahead, then basically that the only reason that we're sitting still right now and not moving like they are is because we didn't write an organized plan. So this is a learning experience, and every year we'll learn. But if we are not putting our egos aside and gathering up the best of the best and putting them in rooms, not on social media, getting them in physical rooms so that they can have conversations that not everyone else hears. In the meantime, then it's us writing these in betweens. And what it'll end up doing is, it feels like that you're filling in time, but you won't end up doing that. What you're doing is writing it. It's going to feel like you're filling in time, because it's going to feel like, because you know something so big is coming, it's going to feel like you're writing in just to fill in time until another big shift that you've already made happens. But what it'll end up doing is putting you in the exact energy in order to manifest and actually land it. What they want you to do is to forget all about this. They want you to go with your head between your legs. It's really the only way that they could get away with anything at this point, is for all of us to feel like we're defeated. And for the rest of the communities, we really got to start figuring out, y'all, like how are we gonna run this? See, but I don't think that it's them keeping us in a loop. I think it's beings around us that are keeping us in loops, beings that are purposely around us to try to keep us in a loop because they don't want us to move forward. And it's us that's keeping us in a loop because we're not getting organized. We've got to get organized. I mean, there has to be a bridge in this. We have to start thinking more logical. We know etherically that we've done what needs to be changed, but right now it's like even with, should you file your taxes? Should you not file your taxes? Well, if you're going to open a business and you're going to open a business and run tax IDs, then you need to, so there's all these little in between things that it's keeping a lot of us stuck because we know it's not the full. We know it's not the full manifestation of it because we know what it looks like when it's done. But I think that the last couple of weeks, with what I've been going through and seeing with this and matching up, is that we don't know, each one of us, what we see in the future, we don't know how far out that is. Like I've known this whole time that, like, I shouldn't be the one by myself making a bunch of decisions, because And that's why it's even like, I can't believe that they haven't done something with me, like at least satisfied me a little bit so I'd stop making all these commands. Because there's some of these commands, and that's why I have to make them so high. I can't make them very specific because I don't have specific information. I know that I'm going to take it out too far, because how I see the financial industry now, along with the ascension and with what I know and how it works with the body and the DNA and the tech grids and stuff like that. Like I see way further out. So I need to be involved in writing some of it, like what happens next and what we call it and the phonetics of it and the Babylonian of it. Okay. But I need to be around the people that know what's going on now on the ground. So it's like how can we know that eventually we're gonna not use leaded gasoline or unleaded gasoline? We know eventually it's not going to be any gasoline. So, and we're building a new car. So we need the car to take gas, but we've got a pretty good idea of what we're going to use next. So we need to fit the engine to take the gas, but then also fit it to take what we're coming next, right? And that's all of us. And whatever our, it's with healing, we know that in the future there's not very many doctors. You really only go to get surgery and blah 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 blah. And then there's a whole slew of us that are way more popular and make way more money than or what you'd consider money, and the hires that are healers. We're the nurses now. Not, you don't go to nursing school anymore. You're a healer. That's a nurse, basically. But from where we are right now, that the government is having to come and cut all the pharmaceuticals and cut everything just to like, and they think that you're killing them, but you're really trying to help them. You got to bridge it. This is why that's why Brigitreve. I'm Chastia Brigitreve. That's each one of us brought a bridge to something. And for the rest of it, it's like, and I don't even know how you want to take a toll on it, but I mean, we've got to get together, and we've got to start at the very minimum, start advertising, pick an expo this summer. Because I got started in Ascension, and then I was off to the races. I didn't have the pleasure of going to any events or reading a book or finding out about different people talking about different stuff. I was in it, and I was in it. I wasn't reading about it. I was having to do it. So if any of y'all know of expos that are coming up, there's got to be one group doing this sort. See, but everywhere, it doesn't matter. We need a bunch of groups doing this, and then a bunch of groups coming together. Everybody thinking that someone else is doing it is the problem. And then it doesn't even matter if they're doing it if they don't have any abilities and if they haven't proven and claimed. If they haven't claimed their energy, then they can sit around and talk about it all they want. They don't have prophetic. They're not prophetic yet. That's my point. I mean, if we had the right 6 women in a room, we wouldn't be having this Doge Elon issue at all. If we would have had the right 6 women in the room, we wouldn't have even had the last 3 years. The problem is for whatever reason, in the spiritual community, everybody wants to be and wants to claim to have all this power and all this stuff, and then totally backstab the ones that do have it, and then expect nothing to happen. And by the way, if you've done it in this life, you've done it before. Well, but they can't keep us apart as long as everyone stops acting like they're in high school. And everyone stopped acting like this is some sorority freaking competition. That's what's crazy about it. And the fact that you have literal incarnates and ancients that are here, that this is what's happening. But it is what the O blood race did. It's literally how this, I mean, we're all witnessing how this went on for so long. This is O blood. This is an O blood thing. This is what happens. You it overrides, and then everyone in the group starts turning on their little whatever, and people don't realize, they think that this is just some conversation that they could have over wine, just like they thought they could the last 20 years, and then it doesn't affect them, their lives, their children, their money, where they're going to live, if they have any freedom, because no one understands what's coming next better than us. But sure, go write some more books. Go ahead. Just go make it more confusing. Right. This is more ancient than a shaman. Shaman will only get you out of the root. This is the problem. The whole spiritual ascension comes all the way out of shaman. In order to get all the way out, you got to go through the tech. You got to go through the tech to get the rest of the way out of here. The shaman's only going to get you so far. And then they want to sit down, and then they want to blame the rest of it on whatever. I mean, this is the thing. The ones of us who have the real information, y'all aren't getting it. And it's getting to the point where it isn't even going to be told on YouTube or someplace over here for free. Just because of the abuse to the ones of us telling it. Not to mention the amount of karma and trauma that we had to pay, and the attacks that we had to endure from coming over here and telling all of you to begin with about it. Or to build a brand that heals you, that then we can write and tell you how powerful you are. So then you can turn around and throw it in and throw it in an incarnate's face. Last minute, when we're coming in a curve. And I'm just so happened to be talking about this last one because it's the 5th time that it's happened with me. So next time you choose your Gaia and your hope, and the one to come tell you, and the one to get experimented on and sacrificed for millions of years, so that all of y'all can have some information when it all happens, then you might want to make sure they're not me next time, because obviously you don't like the way I'm doing it or the way I've done it. So make sure that you put in your vote to somebody else next time, okay? Do that for me. Am I not using the correct words? Do you need to change them up a little bit and create something else real quick? You want to do that in the middle of a blood ascension when they're about to lock down the human race? Not a good idea. You can go do that. Well, Mel, I've had And if you want to work with me, I'm just not going to do it all by myself. Cohu 32, me and Michelle did all of this. We captured it, we did it, we used it, we built it, and then we made an effort to pull together a group at the end of the year. And then the whole thing almost went sideways. And there ain't no way in hell I'm going to let that take me down at the end. And me and Mel are connected, so we can do that. And I appreciate that y'all are voting, but what are we gonna do? If it's just as easy as next time I come on a live that I ask, hey, has anybody looked up where some spiritual, if there's some type of events in the United States, maybe there's one in Australia too. Maybe we can pick one out. It's already an event that's going on, and we can just meet there. Even if we just start out that way. It's hard for me to read these. It's so small. Call you 32. Well, and I'm thinking that is right now I mean, I'll be honest. I'm so freaking done with teaching right this second. I'm beat up. I'm upset. I feel disrespected. I feel offended in so many different ways. And I'm talking about from Chastia. My ancient soul is livid pissed. And some of the crap that went on these past couple of weeks, they were expecting me to have a different reaction, but I'm just so over it that I just don't even care anymore. Thank you. But one of the things that right when I do somebody's chart right now, it's so powerful, it's too much. It would maybe be possible if I had a team that could help him through it and that could work together. The thing is, I can't do written charts until I have a foundation of people that I know is supporting and standing behind the brand and not screwing anything up. Because whenever, and anybody else who's gonna, and I can teach people to do these, and I've already got a template done. But whenever you do astronomy charts, what I don't think everyone realizes is, especially whenever you know the stars the way I do, is that I'm tangled up in your stuff. Like the whole group, you know, it's like I'm tangled up in that group. So it's like I'm the ship. So I'm the ship that everyone's on, and then everyone's talking about you. Though it really does wrangle us all together. And so when I write it, it does come true. And the problem is, and what we figured out in the past 2 weeks, is that I write your charts and I build everyone up, and then a group of you get together and then put me down. And it's been going, I don't understand it. It's some human, I don't know. I activate people and then they freaking turn on me, you know? And it'd be fine if I had enough people that were teaching it, that understood it, that could hold it with me, so that that a group couldn't, because it's all mind power. So if you get too many of y'all thinking on the wrong way, then you're gonna override the consciousness that's the healing to begin with. I know, that's why I'm on here too, Mel, because I mean we're all just over it. But I just want, and that's what this Republic energy will do, because it's that energy. I talked about it on TikTok the other night. It's like how I've been feeling for like the past 3 or 4 days is like I'm in the room. I'm in the room. I'm a little girl, but I'm in the room. It's like they're walking around. I see them. They're acting like they don't see me. They're not talking to me. They're not being friendly to me at all. They're mocking us. But we're there, and they see us. And this is the first year they've seen us. By next year, it's like we're gonna have a whole team in there, and a bunch of them are. We've had people in the White House for like 5 or 6 years. Y'all don't understand the depths that I've been through this. See, this is the other thing. You couldn't, there's no way that you could. I can only get on here and say the parts that I can. Michelle, that's been with me through all the money transfers and all this when it started in 29 at the end of 2019. She has a much better grasp on how deep that I've been in this. But that's what hurts me. It's what breaks my heart the most. And I can promise you this. I think this was a lesson. And I hate to say it. And it's not fair because we didn't know what we were. I didn't know that I wasn't just a normal human being when I started this. And this is why this is universal law. Is not fair. This is why this is going to be corrected and is being corrected, because you can't put us all in different families and keep us away from our abilities so that you can use our abilities to manifest all your stuff and steal our lives. And convince us that we're nothing but just orphans of a normal human race. And then blame us for thinking that we could really help them all. In this lifetime, I haven't sat in high places. I got pretty high for me. In other lifetimes, I have. And it was always the debate that the humans weren't ready. The humans weren't ready. The humans weren't ready. The humans weren't ready. We've got to hide this. We've got to hide this. We've got to hide this. And that's what created all of this. And this is the time that everyone gets to know and everyone gets to learn. But some of them missed it. And the truth is, right now, we are not all the same. Now, everyone has the potential to be the same. That's what an ascension is all about. That's why we went for it. That's why our souls knew to jump, even though we're still going through it. It's still hard. But we're setting up the next 1,000,000 years of DNA lines that are down here. But I'll never do it again. I'll never jump in and save a group of beings ever again. ever. Ever. I'll never do it again. My team went in 3 times. 3 times in this last 7 years. And do you know that every single group then turned around and tried to trap us in it in some freaking way, subconsciously. And each time we almost got trapped because of some stupid, unconscious, egotistical bullshit. And in other timelines, those little things trapped us for 12,000 years at a time. So, anyway, thank y'all for being on here. I know I've been gone for a minute, and so that's what's going on. We're also approaching March 1st. We've got Venus retrograde, and it's going to match up to some stuff that went down in 2018. There's a lot of 2018 stuff coming up, just kind of like full circle. And then I think it's the 25th, February 25th is when Mars goes direct. So we've got Mars going direct in the next 7 days or so, and then Venus going retrograde shortly after. And February is really, this February is having to true up because of what all they did in January. Because of all the repeated attacks and it's like they wanted, they did it on purpose. It because it really did. It kind of shocked us all. It put us all in like an etheric shock because of what they did. So just know that's what it is. We've also planned for it. I've been having to be really, I've been sleeping, I didn't sleep at all last night. I guess it's probably been going on about a week. I'm up until like 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I finally go to sleep at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I wake up at like 1 or 2, or yesterday I woke up at 5 o'clock at night. Like, my sleep schedule is completely roller coaster this last week. So if you're having that, that's what's going on with me. I feel like I'm hoping it's going to start squaring off, but all that went on in January, starting on the 1st, and then everything that went down in Washington, because that was a dimensional lineup with that plane crash and everything that happened right there, and they were attempting to adjust the spheres and all that. And then plus, I even saw a TikTok, the North Pole is gone. So if you're, and I know that I'm not surprised if it is, because I've been feeling dizzy, and just kind of out of it, a little headache. It's like a pituitary gland headache. If it feels like it's radiating from like the center of your head, and it's just kind of like this dull ache, that's a pituitary gland headache. That means that your pituitary frequency, which is your hormone frequency, which is what the Giza Plateau lines up. That's what the Giza Plateau is for, is to resurrect pituitary frequencies. And in 2018, we birthed a new pituitary frequency, because I did it. It was living hell. It was 3 freaking days. But over the past 3 or 4 days, I've been having that headache, real slight, not at all like when I birthed it, but enough that I remember what it feels like. And so I feel like that's what's kicking in. It's a new pituitary frequency that's coming out. So that means it's like hitting your antenna inside your head. So if you're getting that, that's what I feel it is. It's like a hormone. It's a hormone frequency adjustment that's happening, that the body's cueing into. And then just remember that in March we start marching, and Venus is going to go retrograde. So it's going to be like whatever we're doing at the end of February is what's going to come up first when Venus goes retrograde. Okay? So just remember that. And then also remember that when we start marching, Venus is going backwards to pick up some stuff. So it's like when the ants start marching, it's like Venus is going, yo, I'm going to take a crew and we're going to go back real quick, and then we're going to call the helicopter and we'll double back with you. So remember that. Okay? Because that's how it's like there's been a change of guard, and there's been a change of soldiers, and we found out some stuff on the in between, and now da 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 da. And so all that's being determined. What group are you going to march with? Which direction are you going? All that's what's being determined at the end, the second half of February. So take your time, be good to yourself, and don't push yourself, but start getting back on some type of just little bit of a schedule that you can start writing those timelines for your connections. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm suggesting. And follow me on TikTok if you're not there already. Or should I say, the new Facebook. Bye.